Greetings! Today on my Focus RS, I am recharging my air filter. And this is the kit that I am going to be using to do it. It is the K&N Recharger Air Filter Cleaning Kit. And these are the two products that we get inside. We get the K&N Power Clean Air Filter Cleaner. So obviously that's the first stage. And then we get this aerosol of K&N Air Filter Oil. So obviously we gotta grab the filter out of the car. Now this filter is not actually the filter that I am recharging today. This is an older filter. It is a K&N air filter, but it's not one of the open-ended ones. It's just a regular high flow, still high flow performance air filter, but it's not as good as the one that we have in. But what I have got this one out for is I am going to switch this one into the car while we are servicing our good air filter, just so that I can drive the car. Of course, I do need to be able to drive around. It is my daily driver, but this process does take a little bit of time because whenever we do the power clean, we then have to wait for the filter to dry out, and that is the bit that takes a decent bit of time because we do need it to be properly dry before we oil it. So first thing we got to do is jump out to the car and grab our air filter. First thing then under the bonnet is to get the airbox lid off, and for that you'll need a 7mm with a bit of an extension. Alright, and then at this point the air filter should just lift up and out. Now inside here is pretty dirty, so I'm just going to give it a quick clean out. Alright, I think that's a reasonably good job. So now I'm just going to pop in my temporary replacement filter. So the way that these filters work is this rubber ring section, you want to fit it over the top of this lip here, which then is part of the rest of our intake pipe work. So if you start just on the top and then kind of rotate it a bit, it should pop in. Once it pops in, it will go in far enough that the outer lip fits into the outer sort of groove of the airbox. So with that, then I can put the airbox lid back on, and then we can get in and clean our good air filter. Okay, here we are then. We have our good filter, which is basically the same filter, just with this secondary input right here on the end. And it is pretty darn dirty, and it doesn't really look red at all. You can maybe see sort of dirt and what have you. So these are oiled filters, of course. Over time, they obviously keep filtering the dirt out that is in the air that is sucked in, but the oil catches the dirt, which is what it's meant to do, but then that builds up over time, and it can make the efficiency of the air filter like a bit less, which obviously is not what we want for performance. So it is a good idea to do this recharge every so often. Now the last time that this filter was out was probably about 2 years ago, so I would say it is probably well due a recharge. So what we have to do with our power clean very simply is liberally spray this all over the filter. So that is both sides, so here all the way around the outside, and then as well, if I flip it around, we also want to get it on the inside. Then what we do is we just let that sit for like 10 minutes to let the power clean do its thing and break down the dirt, and then we come along and we rinse it out. And once it's rinsed out thoroughly, we let it dry, which is the part, like I was saying earlier, that can take a bit of time, and then we can move on to re-oiling our filters. So without further ado, let's get it on. Alright, well I would say that's reasonably liberal. Obviously it's a circle, so you might wonder how you're going to know once you've got all the way around, but there's this metal spine, so you just start at one side and then just keep rotating until you get back to the metal spine, then you'll know that you've done a full revolution. And yeah, like I was saying, we just need to wait for 10 minutes now, let that do its thing, and then come back to rinse. Okay, that has been 10 minutes, and there's like crud falling out the bottom, which is good, and there's lots of nice dirty liquid falling out. So yes, cold water, like not ridiculously heavily pressurized, just regular, and we're going to rinse it out. And now what they say is that you should be rinsing it out from the clean side, which is basically the inside in our case. So that's going to be a little bit awkward, so it's going to kind of be, you know, like this kind of job. So then that the water is coming out this way to push the dirt that we've now loosened away from the filter, as opposed to pushing it down into the filter and not getting rid of it. So yeah, just going to do that until I'm happy that it's nice and rinsed. Okay, there we go. Well, at this point then it should look pretty uniform, but also uniformly dull because we don't have any oil left in it, but we also don't have any dirt in it, which is good. And it's, like I was saying, just a waiting game now. Gotta let it dry off, and they say to let it dry naturally, so don't, you know, just start blasting it with a heat gun or something like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna set it up on the side here and wait. I don't even know how long it's going to take, you know, it's hard to really say, but it could take maybe like a day to really dry. But yeah, I mean, you can give it a bit of a shake to get rid of any excess water that you can, but ultimately you just have to wait because obviously it's a cotton filter, so that cotton absorbs water. Here we are then, we're nice and dry. I mean, it probably took, I don't know, maybe a few hours. Like, you know, yesterday evening it was pretty much ready to go, but it is the next day. I just let it be for an extra bit of time just to make 100% sure that it was nice and dry. At this point then, we jump in with our K&N air filter oil, and what we do with this is we hold it about 3 inches away, and we just spray along each of the pleats, and then we leave it to wick for like 20 minutes. And what that means is just letting the oil absorb into the cotton in between. Alright, there we go, that is the oil sprayed on. As you can see, I'm using an old bit of cardboard as a sort of makeshift spray area because there will be overspray for sure. And it's also a good idea to wear gloves and also to have some kind of rag or cloth to wipe up any excess that goes onto these rubbery plastic bits. But yes, like I was saying, now we just got to wait for 20 minutes and see how well that absorbs into the cotton. And then hopefully after 20 minutes it should look real nice and should be ready to go back into the car. Alright, that's been at least 20 minutes and we do have a little bit of unevenness, in particular in this crevice, which was a little bit difficult to get at, and a wee bit of patchiness around there. So just going to top up again with our oil and then we'll be ready to jump back out to the car. Alright then, time to get our temporary filter out. Now it's worth noting that before, whenever I was loosening the airbox lid, I used a power tool. The screws came all the way out, but you don't actually need to take the screws all the way out. If you just loosen them, if you want to just use a regular hand tool, you should be able to loosen those screws and leave them in the lid and then pop the lid off. It's just using the power tool, they decided to come all the way out, but either way is good. It doesn't really matter which way you go. So yeah, same process as before. We're going to loosen all these screws and get the lid off and get the filter out. And then we grab our nicely refreshed filter and get it into place. Alright, so whenever you're all the way in and your rubber bit is underneath the plastic of this bit, and then also you are in the groove of the airbox in here, then we're ready to grab the airbox lid and get that back in place. There we go. That is us done for today. You can see our nice red, fresh filter in there, and yeah, job done. Well, there we go. That is the refresh of our K&N air filter using the K&N recharge kit. Works really well. It's very simple and easy to do, and it will keep our air filter working nice and efficiently for a long time to come. So I like that, and I hope you like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more content to come very soon. Thank you once again. Goodbye.